Hello everybody, welcome back to Ace Attorney, Miles Edgeworth Investigations. I think that's the title, I'm not entirely sure. In the last episode, we came back home from our trip and found a dead body in our office. Not exactly the way I would like to, come home to. Usually I'd like to, put my stuff away, relax, things like that. But no, Miles Edgeworth here, he had a corpse in his office. And also he was confronted at gunpoint by someone, we still don't know who that is, who shot this beautiful framed jacket over here, threatening Miles Edgeworth, who of course said that no one murders someone in my office and gets away with it, essentially. So there's an overarching story there, I think, probably. We also investigated the office, and then once we finished off that, in comes this guy, who, if we watch the opening cutscene, this guy's the murderer. I mean, come on. There ain't nobody else who has this kind of look. Let's see. Can I speak to you, sir? Or no? Do I have more logic to do? Anyway. Let's see her. Ah, yes. Let's put signs of struggle with theft. Connect. Nice. There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, you mean like it could be from when the killer tried to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir. I'm gonna shelf files like you've never seen before, even at a library. Sure. Let's give that a try. Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. Edgeworth deep in thought. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do is search for the truth. And, so what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? First, we must calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it! Here, let me help. So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go, despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal! Okay? Done. Very nice. It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here. Ugh, the bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh. I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. And then the guy fell onto the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kinda grossing me out. Oh, God. How are you a detective, Gumshoe? Haven't you seen dead bodies? I know you have. Detective, I don't have time to deal with your weak stomach right now. But you know I'm no good with blood, soy. And yet you're a detective. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. I think there's quite a few things. Like this. The victim's handprints. He must have tried to support himself with his hands here after being shot. There are prints on the floor, too. Those must have been made when, unable to stay standing, he dropped to the floor. Okay. It appears that the victim was in a sitting position here after being shot. Oh, so that's why the seat of the victim's pants has blood on it. That would be the logical conclusion. Alrighty. Well, there's the obvious. I'm gonna look at this little bullet hole over here. So this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim, huh? For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file spot indicates that the files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. Then I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. Alright. I see something over there, but it's not gonna let me, like, deduce it because the body's in the way, so. The killer moved the body because it was leaning against the bookshelf. The blood on this guy's... Oh, sorry. Nah, wrong person. The blood on this guy's pants proves that pretty well. In a sense, I suppose. See? I'm not completely useless, Mr. Edgeworth! Alright, so let's... Do we deduce with this? Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Let's do the gun, right? Victims out. Is it the gun because only one shot fired? Or is it... bullet was clean through the victim's abdomen? So he would have had to be sitting. Believed to be the murder weapon. One shot fired, so this has to be it, right? Because clean through the victim's abdomen, that doesn't. I might be wrong here, let's try it. This is clearly where the contradiction lies. I don't really see what's so wrong with that spot. Ha! You don't understand? You see, therein lies the contradiction. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, it'd be nice if you'd just admit when you're wrong. Yeah, I figured. I got it wrong. But at least I got to see what happens when you get it wrong. Truly was my plan the entire time. Just showing you guys what happens when Edward gets his deduction wrong. Truly, yes. Uh-huh. Okay, I'll be honest now. I just picked the wrong thing. That wasn't a mistake. That was me keeping you on your toes, detective. Okay. So this is bullet lies, deduce. Okay, so it is the body. Because we still have the gunshot and everything in the other place. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, body. Eureka! There is clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, soy? You don't see. Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, soy? That would be illogical. The victim leaned against this shelf here after being shot, which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. Then that means... Wait, what does that mean, soy? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, detective. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption, and it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that caused this problem with the bullet hole's position? the order of the files? I believe the order of the files is a bit off. You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually I think the labels on the files are wrong, soy. Oh? Yeah, you see here how the files that were short begin with number 0? What are those doing all the way down there after 1, 2, and 3? That's really weird. Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They are exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. But the numbers are all out of order. Those white binders are special, so they're arranged a little differently. But from this we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Aha! So that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you did, Detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out. Do you think it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved? They finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. If you please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith. And then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. Exactly, and then proceeded to shoot the victim. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice. Once before and once after the crime. But why? Now the crime scene is as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give it another look. Okay. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. And we figured out that the killer went through your bookshelf twice. Indeed, there are many things the killer did that don't make sense. But to figure out the whys, we need more information. These handprints belong to the victim, right? They make sense with the body's position. Yes, he must have left them when he was trying to support himself after he was shot. However, the final position of the body shows that it was moved. I need to go over this crime scene with a fine-tooth comb one more time. There must be some reason as to why the victim's body was moved. But there's no time to ponder that now. Let us continue with our investigation, Detective. Roger that, Soy! I'm ready to go! This looks a little suspicious. Also, that almost looks like it says gumshoe. Well, at least I see gum, and then... yeah, it does look like gumshoe, possibly. This... What is... well, what is that? Why does it say gumshoe on there in blood? I'd say that's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Yes, indicative of criminal activity, indeed. No, wait! There's gotta be some mistake! Mr. Edgeworth, Soy! Help me! Say something, Soy! It appears that one of my files was stolen. Is that all, Soy? What about me and my situation? Is this what the killer was really after? Alright, stolen file. Investigation complete! Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling ya, it wasn't me! You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you are going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words, they're more than enough, wouldn't you say? Oh, listen to that, it's raining again. Huh. Well, apparently every time I play this game, it pours. How interesting. Anyways, hopefully it's not messing with the Idaho? What? Idaho? Why did I mention that? This is what I get for not getting much sleep. Anyways, the audio, too much. I will try to make this as easy to hear as possible. If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it! I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude, and his hair. It's absolutely atrocious. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. The hugest flaw in his logic is how he got dressed this morning. And also, once again, that hairstyle. What is it? Mr. Edgeworth, what are you gonna do? What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Oh, how do you do that? Can you explain to me, sir? Yeah, tutorial. I mean, to be honest, I know how to play this game. But for the sake of, well, let's see, where am I on time? I guess we could, go through the tutorial. Alright, first, I listened to the witness's testimony, the victim's testimony. Okay. Go listen to the victim's testimony. That was so dumb of me. If I find a flaw in the testimony, something that contradicts the evidence, I open my organizer with RB and present the piece of contradictory evidence. To present something, I simply use Y, but that's old news. But it's not like there's gonna be a flaw in the testimony every time, right? Correct. And at those times, I need to press the witness with LB. Sometimes by pressing, I can draw out new information with new or modified testimony. I think I get it, soy. I'll be sure to try this technique out during investigations too. Ow. Sorry, trying to get comfortable. I'm still recovering from my injury, so. Very well. I'll even show you how it's done. Now watch carefully. Mr. Portsmouth's logic. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But, thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for his killer's arrest! Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portsman? There is no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I will find the flaw in this man's logic and expose it with credible evidence. Rebuttal. Now, why would he steal his gun? Wait, did Gumshoe say that he didn't like guns? I think he did. Never mind. Okay. Well, let's press for some more testimony.
Hold it!
You know, there's something I've been meaning to ask. What is it? Why do you call the victim Jim, when clearly his name is Butty Faith? Isn't it obvious? Jim is the perfect name for my companion. Jacques and Jim. Don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jelly? But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name. Well, Jacques and Buddy just sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third of a bunch of guys I decided to nickname Jim. Okay, I really don't like this guy. What an egotistical... Yeah. He talks about the victim like he was his pet. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead.
Hold it!
Do you really think it was necessary to dishevel my shelves twice to do that? That's true. Okay then, maybe his real intent was theft. Hey! Are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Edgeworth? It's a possibility. Maybe your salary's been cut so much that life is getting a little too rough to handle. I'll have you know that I eat 3 square... Oh my gosh. I'll have you know that I eat 3 square meals every day, pal! Okay, so all 3 of them happen to be instant noodles, but... Poor thing. What an evil prosecutor you were paired up with. And what a motive. No. And that's when you move Jim's body. No. No, wrong button.
Hold it!
And why would Detective Gumshoe do such a thing? Because the body was getting in his way. He had to mess up your bookshelf somehow, right? Anyway. Notice the bloody letters the victim was hiding.
Hold it!
Why do you think that the killer didn't notice the bloody letters? The body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? That's how he missed it. But, judging by what I've seen, it doesn't take much for your detective to miss something. Who do you think you are? You know nothing about me, pal! There's a lot a person can understand about another from first impressions alone. I can't say I disagree with him on that point. Why don't you say something, sir? Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth! Despite his lack of attention to detail, I don't believe the detective to be the culprit. Nobody could have overlooked the bloody letters, and I can prove it with evidence. I couldn't ask for a better setup for the game-finishing spike. And it will be by his final words he will be brought to justice. You know what? So I think it wants me to prevent something. Present something here. This one? I think it's this one.
Objection!
Yep. That's smugness. Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there is a serious flaw in your logic.
Bringing a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem. I'm game.
I can't help but find it odd.
Excuse me?
Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking. I get it.
If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file?
What? That's impossible!
What's impossible, Mr. Portsman?
Nothing.
The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines.
Objection!
It's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name where the file should be is proof. Yeah! I mean, the S is gone, and it's only half an H. If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Which means... What exactly? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low! I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, Si! I'm gonna get him, Si! You'll see! I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time! Well, Mr. Portsman?
Brilliant. Absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic gold.
I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed.
You win some, and you lose some. That's how life goes.
Glad everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive.
Ah, but you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up. However...
What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal?
Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office?
That would be me. But Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal.
Okay, you look even more tacky. That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you, Joik.
Then why do I sense that you still have something to say?
Okay, stop. Well, I was thinking. Did you know there's one other person with a key to this office?
One other person? Hey, you there! Yes, sir? What is it, sir?
Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No! Stop it, pal! Don't! What's wrong with him all of a sudden?
It's Maggie!
I believe she needs no introduction. I've called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security. And I think we're actually going to leave it here. We will meet Miss Maggie Bird in the next episode. If you like this episode, like and subscribe to see more. And on that note, I will see you guys next time. We gotta prove this tacky jerk over here who doesn't even acknowledge his partner's actual names, and you know, he's just so smug and everything. We gotta prove that it was him. We just have to. Because we know it wasn't Gumshoe. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna try to blame it on her. And yeah. She's too sweet of a character to have that happen to her. So, on the next episode, we will talk to Miss Bird, the material witness. I will see you guys next time. Bye!